All right. I haven't even really looked at the charts this morning. So draw on liquidity was met on, I think, all indices. Yeah, it was. Want to watch how price acts above these equal highs, because if we get some reversal patterns above these highs, I might look for some sells. I don't want to force it though, because everything's pretty bullish, but I mean, we did clear out that pretty big area of liquidity. We're hovering around this supply zone on the NASDAQ. I don't know about the S&P. S&P I think went above, or no. Yeah, for some reason they haven't updated this chart. That's always nice. Let's see if they updated NAS. Nope. That's irritating. I don't know why it never does. S&P looks a little stronger than NASDAQ, but it is above this old high, which was the daily draw on liquidity. Sorry, Biz, I'm going to mute you. Let me know if you want to talk. I just had to get rid of the background noise. Ideally here, I'd like is for her to push up into this zone and then get a break of structure with displacement on the lower time frames. Really where we're at, we could look for it, but I would still like us to fill this imbalance up here. It's kind of, thing is, well, we do have an imbalance to fill here. That's actually a little bit viable, but what is the S&P new drawn liquidity? Because I don't think, oh yeah, there's a tiny little imbalance to fill here. I mean, it's not much though. Like right down there, so it's interesting. Because yeah, if we're looking at shorts, if we were to short, I'd be looking for the next higher time frame draw on liquidity, which is, if you got a fair value gap here and another fair value gap here. But I mean, when we're on the daily, if we come down and fill a daily imbalance, I'm probably going to be out of most shorts, and that doesn't really leave us much room there. We could be just pushing more to the upside. Either way, I want to just see some kind of animated push into a pool of liquidity with a followed by break and structure in the low time frames. So I'm kind of just waiting. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab this coffee. Alrighty. Oh wow, I got a nice reaction off that zone, huh? The short narrative here is kind of just, I mean, it's there, but I don't know how the risk to reward's going to be looking. Interesting, because this is given the setup. Yeah, I mean, it's giving this. I just don't know, because we're looking here. It's like where is the? I mean, I don't know. We could be coming back down for this zone, like I was talking about yesterday, but that'd be a pretty big drop. How far is this from the stop loss already? Yeah, it's pretty far. Because again, what we're looking for, it's just sometimes when you have a trade model, you can have your setup and all of the parameters needed, and then maybe in this situation, like I'm looking at it, like the profit targets, they're just not where I would want to be taking profit. It's just not far away enough for me to, yeah, the setup is good, but when we have a daily fair value gap like that, even though it's a small one and it's close by, personally, if I'm shorting kind of counter trend, if I were to take a sell there, that would be where I would want to be, out for the most part. So, um, and the risk to reward, if you look to that area, is just not there. It's going to be like a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1. So, it's an interesting situation there. And that happens every once in a while. You'll get your setup and you just get that's why we kind of have rules to go by where we only use or only take trades where we're using kind of a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. We don't want to just, you know, hop into, I mean, some people do. I know good traders that use less than a 3-to-1. Some people that trade a lot of ICT stuff, they're doing 2-to-1 a lot, but it's just not for me. So also, what's up? People from YouTube just not seeing this. Because really looking at it from a perspective of liquidity, we've got some fractal, this little buy to sell range. Like whenever you see this, like when price is pushing down and you have wicks like this right here, like there's not a big one right here, but then you kind of like wick back up. What that's showing you is a buy to sell range on a lower time frame. So, price came up, hit some demand, demand was injected to the market and plummeted. So that'll tell us on a lower time frame it's going to be a order block a lot of the times or a some form of supply zone. So not on the 1 hour, on the 15-minute, we've got something right here, and it's not the prettiest zone, but look, it comes right out to that candle. So that's just a way you can use the higher time frames to view the lower time frames. We also came above uh, quite a few highs. While we're pretty bullish, I could see a little retrace here. Existing home sales in the United States just came out. Let's see what it was. You guys should get my Forex book for the app for your phone. I use the Forex Factor. Okay, it was worse than expected. We'll see how that affects the dollar. The dollar finally may retrace at some point. Seems like this day would never come. I mean, yeah, if I was looking at the dollar just like any other asset, oops, wrong tool. Why am I there? I'd be looking for a pullback down into this 105 area, which that doesn't look like much, but that would be monumental compared to what we've seen. We haven't seen a pullback like that since it's been about a month. Let's look at Bitcoin. We fucking smacked Bitcoin yesterday. Everyone was trying to short this last night. I personally, um, the way I look at Bitcoin right now is we've got a pretty nasty fair value gap to fill right here. So I don't know why everybody wanted to short it yesterday. I think everybody just gets excited whenever we get above an old high, which I get it, but you got to be mindful of around you. So we're getting close. That would be my next like target for Bitcoin overall. This is the whole thing I like to do. And I posted this on Twitter yesterday in that thread. If you haven't checked it out, you can go peep it. It's literally free game. Like um, the whole when you're trading counter trend or now we're trading it. Well, actually, it's with the trend. We broke out and closed above it. So I'm so used to saying Bitcoin's bearish, but when you're trading shorts now, I guess would be counter trend. But you know, when we're trading, we want to just build a narrative off the higher time frames and kind of use the low time frames as a boat to get there, so to speak. So if I think the price is going to go here, right, that's my POI. I might go to the 15-minute and see if we're bullish and structure in the 15-minute, and then see if we can get there using the 15-minute. The way I'm looking at the 15-minute now, right now though, we had here's our structure here. Came up, went down, got a break of structure, but then you come down here, and it looks like you did not get a closure anywhere over here. You did over here, though. This is kind of odd price structure because, usually if you see some like this right here, just for future reference, if you see a wick like that, that's usually where you want to see a pullback down to take out the weak low, so to speak, because, if we come up, we fail, like right here. So, this swing, we came up, made a low, and then we failed to take this high, which we came above it. But if you're like me and you use closures, we did not get a break of structure. So, we would then look at this as a weak low. So then the same thing happened here, right? Because we didn't come up and close, but it seems like we pushed above it, and then came and closed over here. So, I mean, the new structure would be this low to this high, and I'm just looking for any kind of POI that is in a premium, preferably with the imbalance ahead of it. Tiny equal lows right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this, but it's not a very great zone, if you ask me. And I think that if indices pull back like I think they might, we could definitely see more or see this swing structure get violated. And then another thing, yes, we built the story around this 4-hour fair value gap, but it's not like we have to wait for that forever to start shorting. Like the other trigger for me would be if the 4-hour internal structure switched bearish. Because if we're looking at, shorts, counter trend shorts, let's just say, the 4-hour is bullish. All right. Well, what I want to see on the internal structure is, we knew that we had to be bullish going up this first leg. Right, then price comes down, and that first change of character, which would happen right here, that tells us that whatever structure we were coming from, we broke structure, and then there's a change of character to tell us we're coming on this pullback, and there's another change of character to tell us it's over. But we're using all of that on the time frame we're viewing. So if we're looking at the 4 hour here, and we're trying to catch a pullback, if we're trading or counter trend because the trend is bullish, well, we want this time frame to give us that change of character, a break of an internal low. Now, whenever we're trading with the trend, we would scale into like a 15-minute or something along those lines. But whenever we're bullish and we're looking at taking shorts, I think the smarter thing to do is to wait until a 4 hour switches its structure. So for where we're at with Bitcoin right now, it would be coming under this low right here, which again would be that swing structure. Oftentimes, whenever you're looking at internal structure on one time frame, if you scale down to a lower time frame, that same internal structure is going to be swing structure. It's not always the case with the 4 out of the 15-minute, but it's very common. Same thing with the daily to the 4 hour. Um, it gets a little more choppy when you have these consolidation ranges, I will say that. There's this fair value gap here on the 2-minute. You see a rejection here. You're probably going to come down and target this liquidity. Although I'm bullish on everything overall as far as indices go. One coin I did want to take a look at, because I know they apparently have some high news today or high impact news, is Matic. They literally posted something on social media. See if we can find it. Maybe it already came out. I have a website called Matic News. I think this is some kind of brand. Where is... Somebody sent me a... Let's go to their Twitter, because here, I have it over here. They tweeted me this tweet. They said that there was a big announcement. Biggest zero knowledge announcement of the year. X Polygon? Or is it 0x? No. Oh, an Ethereum virtual machine. Somebody's tagging me in Discord. Hold on 1 second. The stream's still up. Oh, on Discord. I guess I had it linked to a window. That was weird, but it's up on. It never went down on YouTube, so that's what I was talking about. But are you good now? I'm guessing it is. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I guess it's an Ethereum virtual machine, which can be a big deal. Let's see what the chart says. I wanted to pull back on Matic at some point in order to give us a reversal here. And it's just pushing that fair value gap with power. That's one of the, it's like literally if you were to take shorts from the top up here, your target, one of the targets would have been this fair value gap, and then here it was just like the risk to reward's really not there. Let's see on a Matic. This for me, like this impulse swing, I'm just gonna draw a line from the premium to discount of this range, and then refine a POI that's in a discount on the daily. Got this 4-hour order block here. Also got this over here. I'd pay this some mind as well, because it's sitting right at equilibrium. And refine these down to a 1 hour to get it on point as much as possible. I would actually use this last candle because this is the last candle before we really saw engulfing or a big move. I like this down here better though. This zone is good though because we saw real displacement originate from it. It is sitting right on equilibrium as well. And then we're kind of forming this range up here. This could be one of those accumulation, manipulation, distribution ranges. It's pretty far from the area. Usually you don't see that much of room for a deviation, but I would still pay it some mind. If we can get down in this area, fill these imbalances, that would be a nice long. I wouldn't be looking to short this. Somebody's asked me if I would short it today, and I don't really see much of a reason to short it yet. Uh, you know, there is the term sell into strength, but it's not like we don't want to just sell into something for, no reason except that it's pumping. That's how you get hurt. I see a lot of people trying to do that with crypto. They're like, short it, short it. It's been pumping so hard, and it's like that doesn't always work. I promise you. That's what SPX is doing. I want to see XPX. We really haven't seen any liquidity ran. Usually, what I look for is something in the kind of the morning range, like 8:30 or after, where to get ran. I mean, the only thing got ran was this right here, but it's not really much of. There's not. You usually want to see like a big, violent push where it's undeniable that there's probably some manipulation going on, but I don't really see that with this may have been a better fair value gap with S&P. I'm not seeing a ton of setups that I'm really liking too much, so I'm not gonna force anything. If the risk reward is a little bit better, I would maybe have taken or been looking more for sells, but S&P is kind of the one you want to watch as like a guiding light. Like the Nasdaq does its own thing, of course, and it's the Nasdaq, but S&P is kind of like the daddy of indices. So if you see something on only one of the three sisters, as they call them, the US 30, the Dow Jones, and then we have the S&P, the Nasdaq. If If you see something on only one of the three sisters, usually it's kind of deviating. Like for instance, if you see, a lower low on Nasdaq, but not a lower low on the S&P and the Dow Jones, you can almost guarantee that that lower low is just a liquidity raid and that you're going to push higher. It's a form of SMT divergence, that like how we use the dollar against currencies. If the dollar's making a lower low and the currency's making a lower low, or the dollar making a lower high and the currency making a lower low, we can always, assume that the currency is being accumulated. We can look at some. Let me just look at this on the 1 minute. Yeah, because with the S&P, I mean, I guess kind of it had a fair value gap here, but this wasn't. This wouldn't have been much for me. So I want to. This. A lot of people use the strategies just at any low, like not even the structure, but I usually want to see the structure broken. So if the structure for me would have been all the way right here, and I don't see a clear fair value gap that caused that break except right here. It was right, after right before the break. But add up the watch list, guys. Man, I'm just gonna put a Nasdaq down here because I don't understand why it doesn't update. Like I'm literally drawing on it right now. It's not updating it on this level. Because I have my alts marked up on this level. Really want a nice retrace on some of these alts because it just seems like the supply is getting absorbed though. Because once you start to see this, last night I was looking at this and I was like, I had no intention or desire to short ape it, especially this time of day. I think the time of day effectiveness is pretty good when you trade just during one session. But I was looking at ape and it's like we came into some supply, but it wasn't even in a premium. And this is a good example of how you can get your trigger and you get faked out. Like so, let's just say you were dead set on this POI, right? And this was where you wanted to short, hands down, you're shorting from here if we get your trigger. Well, look, you got a trigger. The 15-minute switched bearish, right? Because we came up, had a high, another short-term high because we pipped it. Now, if you're like me and you use wicks for internal structure, then you mark the closest low because we are already in an uptrend. So then what happened? Price came down and took the low, right? Took the low, came up into your supply zone. You got another confirmation here, and then price just blasted through it. Now, I like to call this supply absorption. And what it means is that your POI, it was indeed a supply zone, but that does not mean that just because you're gonna get a reaction. The way we form flip zones is from price hitting a supply zone, reacting, and then pushing through it. So you want to make sure that whenever you're selecting your POI, that you kind of keep some form of rule set in order for you to trade off of it. Like for instance, for me, I want it to be in a premium of the high time frame range, which we see this was sitting on equilibrium. So I watched it last night. I watched it give my trigger, and I didn't short it. I marked it and said, okay, I'll test it. I think it's a daily zone, or I've refined it from a daily zone. And it's a great example of how you can one simple rule set, like, oh, I only trade POIs in a premium if I'm just looking for sells. That simple rule can save you from so many unnecessary losses and wasted screen time. So I think that rules are very important to have, whether they're very simple or complex. Like I only trade during the kill zones. That's something I've seen people do. Um, you know, it all comes together to be whatever your trading plan is. So if you can devise something that works for you, and that it's saving you from unnecessary pain or unnecessary losses, then stick with that. You know, like for me, I don't really like to short from POIs that aren't in a premium if we're in a bullish market, or I'm sorry, in a bearish market. They're trying to end up. Still not done too much. ETH might be setting up nice soon. Or not ETH, this is AVAX, sorry. I'm gonna go to full screen. You get more monitors. No, actually, because I would look at, to me, we got this move, and then we go up. That would really be a break of structure, and then this is enough of a pullback for something on the 15-minute for me. So that would give us a new swing structure right here and here. But it seems like we're kind of just wicking that high. It may end up pushing through it, but as of right now, I'm just moving sideways. Could possibly see a move down into this area here because this almost looks like one of those accumulation, manipulation, distribution setups that I was speaking of earlier, where we have this displacement. Price kind of forms this range. It engineers liquidity on both sides, usually raids the top first, and you see a little deviation, and then comes down to clear out the bottom, which would be all these lows right here. But haven't really given a full reversal signal here just yet. I'm gonna watch Bitcoin. Seems like Bitcoin's been given a lot of nice entries in London recently. I've noticed with crypto, it'll switch between, like there for a little bit, the Tokyo reversals were hitting. It's funny because, like yesterday, we got a great entry in New York session, but I've noticed that it's like it kind of just goes through the different sessions where you get on the morning, you say, okay, there was the nice entry, which was right here in this area during the London kill zone. This was amazing right here. You came up. I mean, it's simple, and this is where you don't have to fight it too much. You bullish structure, order block long. It's not much to it. That's kind of the setup we got yesterday. Yeah, I think with the S&P, if we start to break above, it will just be simple supply absorption, and then this move to the downside would have just been a nice buy side raid. Because if you've seen the 4-hour, all structure is still intact. I just don't know why TradingView, they make so much money and they can't update their multi-screen system to where it'll, man. I just wanted to draw my alerts on more than the chart I'm drawing it on. That's all. Not asking for much, TradingView. Yeah, because the S&P has quite a bit of ways to go to that 4-hour supply zone. Daily is looking pretty strong here. We did just get above that liquidity, so it's an interesting area of price action, but coming into 10:30 a.m. as well. So usually, if we have a liquidity rate set up, it will have happened by now. I guess you could have said that maybe this was the impulsive move with a break of structure. We just didn't really run any liquidity. Sometimes you get these set up, sometimes you don't. Look at some Forex pairs this morning. I know GU is give a nice selling signal last night. I did come back up into this area I wanted it to. Oops, wrong color. Okay, that was a 15-minute return to origin because a 15-minute switch bearish. Then we look for the 5-minute to do the same thing. Bam, switch bearish. Again, this all happened in London session. You got this extremely quick. So you came down, wicked right back into that zone. And you saw the 1-minute, which was somewhere in this wick. This was a tough one, to be honest, but you could have just shorted off the 5-minute there. That would have been a nice setup. Happened right at the beginning of the London kill zone. London open. I already documented this. I'm going to delete all this TA. It's one thing I used to keep all my positions on my chart, but now as soon as I move them into my Notion, I just go ahead and delete everything because I like a clean chart. I think chart hygiene is something that most people need to learn, but it keeps a clear mind. Like if you have too much price action just delineated everywhere, I promise you, it causes you to like see like, or the worst thing, and I use them sometimes just to show people things, but like these zigzags will get you in trouble because you build an expectation, which you should really never have. You should always have reactions and not really predictions. And while it's fun to, you know, plot out the bottom and this and that, you know, a lot of times that'll just get you and I know hopefully this speaks to some of you guys, but it'll get you in a mindset where you fail to see what's actually going on because your perspective is skewed to one side of the coin. I think another thing I wanted to do for you guys is link my TradingView alerts with my Twitter. I think I might do that. That way you guys, because I don't want to. Sometimes I'm just doing TA. I don't want to post every single chart, but it'd be nice, I think, for you guys if I could. And it would. I type my alerts out pretty clearly, so I think that could help you guys. If that would help you, just let me know in the comments, or if you're in Discord, just talk to me in chat because I've been thinking about that for a little bit. Nice equal highs right here. Oh yeah, this looks good. I kind of looked through my crypto. If you guys got any good cryptos, drop them on. If you're in the Discord, drop them in the stream chat, or if you're on YouTube. I'm seeing some stuff now. Sorry. Okay. So somebody said when I'm drawing my fib to identify my discount and premium, do I draw at the top from the top or the bottom? Well, for me, when I have this set up, I just have the. Okay, just to put it in short, it doesn't matter. It's just because my fibs are set up to where the top half is red, but it's all about how you set your it's just above the 0.5. It doesn't really matter how you draw it. I just have my colors set up so to show you guys, but it's just above the midpoint. It doesn't matter if you drew it like this. Now it looks like, oh, it's discounts above. It's just because of the way my color scheme is. It has nothing to do with the actual it's just above the midpoint. That's all you need to know. Is premium, below it is not, and it's discount. They said peep optimism. I know this shit went crazy recently. This is actually, I'm glad you said that. Not much for us in the daily chart here, except that you're in daily supply. I haven't ever really traded this coin. I think this probably could be refined a bunch. I'd probably leave it the same because this has already really been tapped into. Could maybe turn it to 2 zones on a 15-minute actually. Let's just see. I don't know, actually, I kind of like that zone. I'll just leave that. Also, just be mindful here. Or no, I would probably just leave it. Okay. Oh, wish I would have looked at this a little earlier. Yeah, this is actually, I mean, it really didn't come down to where I would have wanted to mess with it. But I'd like this zone right there. If we can maybe get a flush down to that zone before we come up and take this would be a nice long. Let's see, actually. CRV is looking like it wants to break out of the freaking daily chart, but it is sitting in a zone where, you could see that reversal. 4 hours still hasn't switched bearish yet. We got a ways to go, so. He said 1. Yeah, I'll look at that one next. Oh wow, it did do what I needed it to do. This would be kind of the next high interest zone for me for 1. The thing is here is I almost want to get a daily break of structure on some of these coins, um, or a lot of them. The daily pullback looks like it's kind of doing its thing and getting up to the top. Bitcoin hasn't really given us that yet, but like one, if I'm looking at it from a swing perspective, I'd say okay, we broke structure there, low. I would really say, I mean, everything's kind of in those zones where it's pretty decisional. You're really at the top of the daily range. What the fuck? How did I select text? Look at this, like, here's the swing structure we have to work with. We're also under that 4-hour POI. Didn't really hit anything except this fractal range, I guess. Maybe that's what you're looking at or looking for. Ideally, I would have wanted this candle down here, though. But I mean, I guess if you use the last candle before displacement, we tapped into that. Kind of already got really what I would have said the 1 minute entry would have been right there. Not sure if the risk to reward. This looks good though. The risk to reward's probably not really there. No, it's not. Probably going up to this right here, or maybe this zone. I wouldn't really target the zone though. I'd target the structure. Okay, Filecoin hit a nice 160%. That signal was given out in the Discord too. For those you watch on YouTube, if you're wondering where this came from. Theta, ZP. I'll tell you one thing at Theta, man. I don't know, I swear. This coin, I haven't looked at it in a long time, but it was like, it's one of those coins that just never, like literally look at it, like it never saw another bull run with crypto. Like literally the entire, all 2021, it was just, I mean, it kind of did, but it never even made highs again. So I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't really pay I'll do the TA on it, but my advice would be not to really pay much mind to stuff like this, just because it's shown zero strength when everything else did. And in crypto, that's kind of like a very big red flag for me. If everything is flying and it's like you literally see nothing from this. For me, I mean, this looks good down here. I'll say that for sure. This price action looks good, but I usually don't pay these as much attention just for that reason. This looks more like accumulation. You've got push the downside, you wicked out the lows, test, coming back up maybe this, but not a big Wyckoff guy. I'm just at a first glance. The swing structure on the 4-hour is bullish. That's your low and high. So, it looks like it came back down somewhere in one of, I don't know. The way I trade, like smart money, sometimes it's like, for instance, I'm looking here, like even in hindsight, I can't tell you where this, like there was no clean POI really on the 4-hour that wasn't mitigated, except right here, I guess, maybe in this wick, but I would have never looked for that. That's where it seems to have reacted from. Swept the weak lows. Now you've came for the highs. Ideology here would be to target this weak high. So you just look to get it on the 15-minute. Look for like are you in a premium or discount? You're in a premium. You could look for try to trade the 1 hour, the 15-minute up to, our week high up here. You could, build your narrative around that, but um, I wouldn't focus. I wouldn't really pay attention to this. I mean, I say that, and then it could fly to $1.50 tomorrow, and I personally won't care because I think that watching too much stuff will just make you miss trades. Unless you're just a swing trader and you just trade the 4 hour or something, it's one thing. But if you're trying to watch too many coins, it can bite you in the ass because you're spread out too thin, so to speak, and you're not going to be really efficient watching the setups that actually matter. I always recommend just go across your higher time frames and look for the coins that have shown strength throughout some of this. Like you can literally hit the space bar as you're going through. You're like, okay, what's actually showing strength? Okay, storage. This might be interesting, right? Because we see this big push, right? Now you gotta be mindful. It could be just a scam pump, like up to for some extra liquidity for the devs. But let's look at the weekly. Weekly doesn't look too good, just because we filled all these imbalances. We don't really have much to go up against. Yeah, just be careful if you're getting like trying to get into a bunch of longs. Oh no, you're fine, ZP. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying like I wouldn't if I were you. Don't get lost in that chart. Storage though, I don't. This weekly I don't really like. And a lot of times too, like it's easy to forget. Like when you're looking at if you're trying to trade the way that I trade, smart money does work on most stuff, but you're gonna see it work better on coins that have institutional involvement. Um, it's not to. I'm trying to think of how to say this. There's nothing like wrong with trading these coins, but me personally, I look for stuff that has institutional involvement. I want to see clear footprints of market makers stepping in, large market makers stepping in to play these coins, and see some of this price action really respected. And for me, usually I see that on a higher cap coins. Like that's why when I watch crypto, I'm watching stuff that you know, like my crypto list is mostly majors. The top 10 to top 20 coins, because that's where you're going to see um, the big dogs are involved because there's a lot of money involved. Um, Coins like the grayscale owns, coins that have big partnerships with um, large scale companies, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like not like coins that kind of fallen off and are a little just dead in the water, so to speak. Ala though, I wanted to get into this. Just go ahead and mark everything. You do it. Daily swing structure. I mean, really, I would consider this a swing on Gala. This right here. So we're getting back up again into that daily supply. We said when checking for institutional candle, do I focus on the indecision candle or the candle before the imbalance or the last red candle? It's different per situation. So I look for the last candle before I see the big move. It's just really the last candle before the impulse started. So like, let's say like, okay, like in this situation right here, for me, it would be this candle right here because if we look, where did the big move start? It started right here. But this is a really big zone. So I would go down on a 4 hour and then I'd do the same thing. Okay, right there. Because we had an engulfing on the next candle. Go down to a 1 hour. You know. So for me here, you know, I would really look using order block here, I'd look at this. But if the institutional candle would be this right here. Now if we go on a 15-minute, that's probably gonna be an order block. Yeah, it is right there. You can continuously do this. And just like any kind of refinement, the higher you refine, the higher the odds are that you're going to miss a trade. Um, but that's just kind of how it goes whenever you're trying to refine it. And also, if you look at you could maybe see this candle right here, but I see the impulsive move really starting right here. So I would just leave it on this candle because I would just look at this as an order block, but I hope that made sense. At a leaky. I'm not gonna really rush a lot of stuff with a lot of these alts right now. I'd like to see moves to the downside before I, go crazy and get into longs up here. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a ton of stuff that I want to really dabble in today. But I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna look around and see if maybe there's a PM trade on indices. That's mainly the next thing I'd be watching for. And from there, maybe get a trade,
Hey,
maybe not.
Casper,
What's up?
since we got you on here, can you take a look at cake for me?
Sure. Always ask me because sometimes I'd rather. Oh, do they take off futures for this?
Oh, yeah, it's just a spot.
Okay.
But
I was
it
just
is
kidding.
breaking out. I was just about to dump a quick bag. I've been looking at it for a while now.
Let's see. Okay, so the daily structure is bearish, but we have shown signs of a pullback, it seems, over here. Yeah, personally, I wouldn't be chasing this here. I would wait a little. I mean, I don't know. Actually, you did kind of wick back down to this demand, so let's see how you reacted right here. To this flip demand, 4 hour. Personally, I would be waiting, but I don't trade this that much. It might run from here because you had this. I guess looks like a 12-hour order block. I would wait for it's down here, but I mean, personally, I wouldn't be, but that's just my strategy. I mean, you could definitely see it run here. Because what I see is we broke above the daily high. We did wick back down, and we reacted to something in here, right? But it didn't fill the
Yeah.
imbalance here all the way down. Left that, and then also didn't hit this 4 hour demand. So for me, I don't know how well this works on cake. I would use this as like an inducement low. So
would like technically satisfied but not satisfied.
really, it'd be technically not satisfied for me, but it'd be satisfied for somebody who's looking at a 12-hour. Oops. So if you look at 12 hours, see it's gone, right there into that order block. So I don't really use a 12-hour though, so I use a 4 hour. So for me, this would be one that I would just chill on. If I'm looking at the 4 hour though, overall target would probably be somewhere in this area. Now I'd go to 1 hour to refine it. I would say this candle. I'll just use this whole range still. I'd probably just use the 4 hour zone. Expand it down to right there. So we still got a ways away from that. So you could look at it from two perspectives. For me, this kind of price action just makes me not want to touch it once we see that kind of stuff, these huge wicks. But so that 15-minute structure, I guess, would still be this right here. So that would be just a liquidity raid. It's probably going to move to the upside after you see a wick like that. It's most likely it's swept up a lot of early longs and cleaned out these stop losses, and you'll see push to this wick, to this deviation. So I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but I wouldn't really personally, it wouldn't be what I'd be paying attention. But if you've been watching it for a while, you like cake.
All right, that's cool. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Easy day.
Wait, say what?
Oh, I said that's it. Then I'm just not even gonna step toes into it. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look. It's like, could I see it pumping? Will I be surprised if it flies up here? Absolutely not. But I don't see it as something that's like, ooh, I want to buy that. You know what I mean? And Bitcoin dominance. I'll do this, then I'll hop off. And also, what is the actual perp thing?
All right, and I hate to bring up the shitty coin, but it is also institutionalized. What about Litecoin? It's breaking above freaking $60 for the first time and ever again.
I mean, anytime something's breaking out for me, I wait, because to me, I just look at that like it's got to break a structure. I'm gonna expect a pullback.
Do you
But
consistently wait for the 4-hour confirmation on a retest, or like after a breakout, or
depends if we're bullish. Like if we're bullish in the 4-hour structure, I'll play a 15-minute change of character, which is just a internal market structure break on the 15-minute. Once we get to the 4-hour demand that sponsored the break of structure. So either way, when something breaks out, that's just like it's the beginning of an idea for me. But I'll look at that one too. I'll look at it after I look at dominance. Let's see. Well, actually, I'm just gonna look at the chart because I forget this is like a. So, and this actually I drew this freaking a long time ago, was when I used in gray boxes, and it definitely hit. But I think this is where Playboy got you guys in shorts too. Like, why is that? This looks interesting. So the daily structure is now bullish. You pulled back down into a. That is weird because it's kind of going against what we would look for when we're going into alt season. This looks bullish as shit in my opinion. So I'm looking at Bitcoin dominance. I'm seeing this as a 4-hour. Thank you for telling me to look at this actually, because I'm gonna wait on this. I've personally never traded the perpetuals on this. Yeah, I've never traded it, but
might this time.
If this is developing, but yeah. So really, what I'd look for here is now the crypto. Okay, cool, whatever. What I'd be looking for is price to eventually come down to this zone, and then on the 15-minute, give that change of character. Look for the newly introduced demand. Then you could look for along there, and then that would be the kind of laying the confirmation. I want to see how this is actually going to be a cool little case study. I'm going to put this on my list so I don't forget it.
So it's gonna give us a little alt run, and then retest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looks bullish as can fucking be, though, dude. Like, this looks bullish. Yes, it is. Wait, what the fuck? Why is this? Okay, hold on one second. This chart might be on some wonky shit. It's drawn from, look at it's drawn from a demand candle here. What's the date? That's 510. And then on 510, it does not even go down that far. I guess that's what it means whenever it's. I don't know. That's weird. Because if you look on the daily, it clearly shows a candle right here. So like, let's just draw a I'm gonna highlight the zone that candle's in, and if we go to a 4-hour, there's just nothing there. So I don't know what to think of that, but interesting. We need to break high time structure for a bull run. I mean, this doesn't mean anything about bull runs. I mean, if you look, we broke structure multiple times during absolute terrible bearish price action, but I couldn't think of the word because I'm sitting here looking at it. We did break above here. I mean, this wasn't really much of a break of structure because, theoretically, the swing structure at this point was literally all the way, somewhere in this region. Broke down like right there. So it would have been like your old bearish swing structure was this. We kind of moved around and then we broke it again, it looks like. So now you've got some new swing structure, which is on the daily, which is all of this. But the 4-hour or the daily, it looks like it came up to this area and then rejected. I don't know, actually, it's interesting. I'll kind of like back test that. I never really looked for it for like a bull run. More so this the cycling of money, like between asset or between sectors of crypto. But yeah, on that note, I'm gonna hop off here. If you don't see anything you like, it's never bad to chill. Looks like indices, longs on indices were the move today, but it didn't give me the model I use on them personally. So, but anyways, I appreciate you guys as always. I will holler at you later. Peace.
Have a good